In each person's life, there is something invisible that determines destiny more clearly than any other factor. It is temperament. The ancients said, "Mind gives rise to form and form gives rise to fate." Whether a person is quick-tempered or composed, firm or gentle, persistent or easily discouraged, all of these create the crucial turns in their life. Have you ever wondered why some people seem fortunate and succeed even if they are not especially talented, while others work tirelessly yet remain beset by hardship? Why some are loved wherever they go while others always seem to drive people away? The answer lies in your temperament. Temperament is not something distant. It is how you respond to difficulty, how you control your emotions, and how you face life. A person who cultivates their temperament training, calmness, forbearance, and wisdom can turn fate around even if born into adversity. By contrast, someone who is easily angered, narrow-minded, and lacking self-control will close doors on themselves even when opportunity stands right before them. This content is not mere dry theory. It is a set of stories and practical lessons to help you understand that if you want to change your fate, you must first change your temperament. It will guide you through the hidden corners of human temperament so you can see what to keep and what to let go. For a life that is peaceful, prosperous, and meaningful, step into the journey of self-discovery, where you may find the key to open an entirely new destiny. Temperament is the root of character. Some say temperament is a mirror reflecting destiny. A life of ease or hardship, smooth or rough, is largely not determined by fate, but by the way we respond to everything. We cannot choose our origins at birth, but we can decide how we will face life. Temperament is the foundation of character. It shapes every word and deed, and even the path a person will follow. A temper that is gentle and calm can dissolve adversity. A temper that is hot and impulsive only invites trouble. Consider this: a single outburst of anger, a thoughtless word, a rash act in a single instant can become an irreparable mistake. The harder the tree, the more easily it breaks in a storm. The more stubborn and rigid a person is, the more suffering they invite. Those of true wisdom have always understood one thing: when the mind is clear, the sky is calm. When the heart is at peace, life feels light. When you learn to master your temperament, you not only preserve harmony in family and work, but also open for yourself a life that is smooth and peaceful. If you want to know how far a person can go, look at their temperament. One who is patient will have a wide open future. One who is impulsive only pushes themselves into dead ends. All things begin in the mind. Cultivating temperament is cultivating character and deciding your own life. Temperament shapes relationships. The connections in life are not random. They reflect each person's temperament. A gentle, easygoing person is like a stream of cool water, bringing warmth and ease to others and winning affection wherever they go. Beside them, hearts feel refreshed, as if by a gentle spring rain. By contrast, the coarse and hot-tempered are like a raging fire that makes others wary and keeps them at a distance. No matter how talented one may be, without temperance, it is hard to keep sincere people close. In this world, relationships are not about how many people you know, but about hearts that are truly bonded. A gentle word can join two unfamiliar hearts. A harsh word can fracture a cherished relationship. Temperament is therefore the key to relationships. It opens or closes the doors of our lives. The wise do not fight to win with words, and do not let ego ruin precious bonds. They understand that temperament determines how we treat the world, and the world will respond in kind. In life, it is not about how many people you know, but about how many true kindred spirits you can keep. Whether bonds are deep or shallow, long or short, all depend on our own temperament. Patience determines success. The world is not short of the talented, but few truly accomplish great things. The greatest difference lies in patience. When difficulties strike, the quick-tempered and hasty often let emotion overwhelm reason, like a boat losing its course in heavy waves. Those who are patient and keep calm are like great trees in a storm. The stronger the wind, the deeper their roots grip. That perseverance helps them weather the tempest, seize the moment, and go farther on their path. Life is not always favorable. What we desire does not appear just because we want it, and plans do not always succeed at the first attempt. The one who can curb anger and not let impulsive emotion destroy the mind is the one who can master destiny. Every great figure in history has stood before adversity. They were not rash. They did not let temporary failure defeat them. They patiently waited for the right time. Only those who can endure hardship can shoulder great tasks. Only those who are patient can reach success. In life, be humble in victory and steadfast in defeat. Know when to advance and when to retreat, and you will reach your goal. Do not rush and ruin things. Do not let anger make you miss your chance. Success comes only to those who are persistent and strong enough to wait. Anger is the greatest enemy. Words spoken in anger cannot be recalled. Actions taken in a loss of control can leave a lifetime of regret. Anger flares up as quickly as fire in the wind, yet what it leaves behind can be the ashes of relationships we once treasured. In a moment we may hurt others, but the one who suffers most is ourselves. The heart grows heavy, the mind becomes clouded, and reason is veiled by negative emotions. Anger has never been a solution. It does not make problems disappear. It only makes them worse. The angrier we are, the less control we have. The less control we have, the easier it is to lose what matters. The wise do not let anger control them. They understand that calm is strength, and self-restraint is a form of wisdom. When anger surges, instead of letting it burn everything down, take a deep breath and step back. When the heart is at peace, everything becomes clear. Life already has enough difficulties. Do not let anger make you lose what is precious. Calmness is the greatest wisdom. Calmness is not indifference and not weakness. It is the wisdom of those who understand themselves and life, and who know how to face every challenge. In the storms of life, everyone sometimes wants to react in haste and fight to defend their point of view. But cleverness does not guarantee victory. Only those who keep a tranquil heart can go far, knowing to stop before speaking hurtful words, to be silent before anger, and to smile in adversity. That is true strength. There are things in life that the more we rush, the more we ruin, and the more stubbornly we argue, the easier it is to lose what matters. When we are hot-tempered, we cannot control our words and actions. When we are calm, everything becomes clear in its own way. In this life, everyone will face storms, but not everyone can pass through them. Only those with a quiet mind who slow down a little and reflect in stillness can walk through every trial without being swept away. Calmness is not weakness, but a kind of strength, the strength of composure and wisdom of those who know that in time, things will be all right. As long as we steady the mind, our thoughts determine our temperament. A person's temperament does not arise by itself. It is nourished by their inner thoughts. Whether someone can control their emotions and maintain composure begins with how they view life. When the mind is flooded with negative thoughts, everything around us turns gloomy. A small remark can make us angry. A minor displeasure can weigh on us. The more unsettled our thinking, the more explosive our temperament becomes. By contrast, those who remain optimistic and take things lightly are not easily shaken, even when faced with unfavorable events. Some people are always irritable and annoyed, not because their lives are harder than others, but because their hearts carry too much sorrow and too many negative thoughts, so they flare up easily at everything around them. Others always wear a smile, not because their lives lack difficulties, but because they know how to look at things more lightly. Change your thinking, and you will change your temperament. Changing your temperament also changes your affinities and the way life treats you. Keep the mind clear and turn toward what is good, and your temperament will naturally be gentle and your life more peaceful. Learn to manage your emotions. Emotion can lift us very high, but it can also drown us in the depths of despair. A word spoken in anger can ruin an entire relationship, and a decision made when out of control can bring a lifetime of regret. That is why the wise always know how to master their emotions, so they are not swept away by inner storms. Managing emotion is not suppression, it is transformation. When angry, do not rush to speak bitter words. Take a deep breath and step away from what upsets you. When sad, instead of sinking into sorrow, find a quiet corner to reflect on yourself. When hurt, remember that everything will pass and no pain lasts forever. The one who can manage emotion is not weak, but the strongest. They do not let sadness drown them, do not let anger overrun reason, and do not let the harsh words of others shake them. They understand that life cannot avoid unpleasant things, but we can always choose how to respond. Master your emotions and you will master your life, keeping the mind still amid storms and the heart serene in the face of what is not as you wish. That is the greatest strength a person can have. Whoever controls their emotions controls their own destiny and knows how to choose to avoid afflictions. Life can never be perfect, but we can choose how to face it in the way that brings the most peace to our hearts. Vexation or lightness, suffering or happiness are not decided by circumstances, but by our own choices. When we hear unpleasant words, we can choose anger or choose forbearance. If we choose heated argument, we only add to our troubles. If we choose to smile and let go, we are the first to be freed. We can choose to argue or choose silence. Sometimes words cannot change a person's heart, but composure can preserve harmony. Debate does not always help us win, but knowing when to be silent can keep peace. We can choose to suffer or choose to let go. There are things in life that cannot be changed no matter how much we regret them. If we keep brooding, we only torment ourselves, but if we can let go and accept the present, can be gentle no matter what the past was like. Each day we stand before choices. Those with a gentle temperament, who can accept and release, will feel at ease wherever they are. Peace is not the absence of storms, but knowing how to face them in the gentlest way. Temperament determines destiny. Life is not always decided by circumstances. It is our temperament that draws the path we walk. A word spoken in anger can destroy a relationship. A moment of haste can ruin a great opportunity. By contrast, those who are self-controlled and composed keep their clarity and open new doors for the future. Gentle and tolerant people live a joyful life. Because they know how to yield and empathize, there is always someone ready to help them wherever they go. Even in difficulty, they keep a calm mind, seeking to resolve rather than complain. That gentleness makes their life flow like water, with fewer storms and many blessings. The hot-tempered and hasty easily bring suffering upon themselves. Because they are easily provoked and quick to quarrel, they are always entangled in trouble and gossip. No matter how talented, if one cannot control their temperament, it is hard to go far. One burst of anger can cost us an opportunity, and one impulsive act can push us into a dead end. The wise are not those who know the most, but those who can keep the mind at peace. Life is full of change, but only those who remain calm can see clearly and make prudent decisions. When storms strike, instead of panicking, they know to wait for the right moment and turn danger into safety. Temperament affects not just a single moment, but an entire lifetime. If you want a life of steady serenity, start by training yourself. When the mind is at peace, everything naturally aligns. When the temperament is gentle, destiny also becomes smooth. Live a tranquil life. A human life is like a river that flows on and never returns. The years that are gone cannot be kept, and the things that have passed cannot be changed. What we can do is choose how to live so that each day is not wasted and our hearts are light as we move forward. No one can escape hardships and hurts in life, but those who know how to master their temperament and keep a tranquil mind can still smile serenely no matter how many storms they face. When the heart no longer clings so tightly and no longer lets emotions sweep it away, everything naturally becomes lighter. Happiness does not come from having everything we want, but from appreciating what we already have. One who knows what is enough will always feel joy. One who knows how to let go will no longer suffer. What is the point of grasping and competing when in the end everything is emptiness? What is the point of harboring resentment when we ourselves are the first to be hurt? Life need not be too hurried nor too stubborn. Learn to flow with causes and conditions. Accept what cannot be changed and change what lies within reach. When temperament changes, fate changes too. Serenity is not avoiding life, but facing it with a steady soul. Live gently and calmly without letting emotions carry you away. When the heart is at ease, the world around you softens. Life is a long journey, and temperament is the compass. One who can restrain emotion, keep a peaceful mind, and think positively can move forward firmly no matter how many trials appear. Temperament shapes character, and character creates destiny. When we choose calm over anger, forbearance over resentment, and letting go over clinging, life naturally becomes lighter. If you find these reflections meaningful, please leave a comment, like, and share the video to spread what is good. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to continue receiving profound insights and life lessons that steady the heart and clarify the mind. Let's learn together to live a serene life so that each passing day is a day worth living. There are faces we need see only once to feel uneasy. It is not because they are fierce or unattractive, but because the face exudes something hard to name: a chill in the air, a sharpness hidden behind a smile, eyes that conceal too much. A face is not only a mirror of age, but a map etched with a person's inner nature. The longer we look at some people, the more our hearts sink, as if a bottomless abyss were before us. A kind person's face is as gentle as the morning sun, eyes that know how to listen, words that shelter others. But one who harbors malice, no matter how well they disguise it, will have time reveal it in their features. Crafty eyes, a half-hearted smile, lips that cannot hide scheming. All are signs of a soul grown turbid. Have you ever met someone who sent a chill through you with just a glance? They may show one of 5 facial traits of those who live with ill intent. And today I want to speak about one of them: the treacherous gaze. If we know early, we'll understand who to keep at a distance and whom not to trust too much. Let us look at people through their features to see that mind gives rise to form, and that the human heart has never been a perfectly sealed mystery. First, the treacherous gaze. It is said that the eyes are the windows of the soul. As the mind is, so are the eyes. One who is upright and inwardly at ease will have eyes that are balanced and still, like a moonlit lake. One who carries deceit and fraud within never has restful eyes, always darting sharp like a blade hidden in the hand. Those with crooked hearts rarely dare meet a straight gaze. They often glance sideways or avoid the other's eyes because the eyes mirror the inner world, the deceitful fear being seen through. Thus they dodge. They know that with a single direct look, a perceptive person can sense the irregularity within. People with eyes sharp as knives, cold and sinister, are often those accustomed to calculation and exploitation. That is not the gaze of kindness, but of one who seeks only personal gain, unafraid to hurt others. A glance may seem expressionless, yet leave others uneasy, as if something hid beneath the surface that they cannot see through. By contrast, the upright and clear-hearted have eyes with evident spirit, bright as running water. When they look at others, their eyes carry sincerity and calm without shifty evasiveness. An honest person has nothing to hide and nothing to fear. Their gaze is forthright and open. The ancients said, "The honest do not speak in circles, the deceitful do not look you in the eye." Treachery shows not only in evasive words, but in shifty eyes. The more schemes a person harbors, the more complicated their gaze becomes. When you face such people, you can feel discomfort rising from deep within. It is the gaze of one who is always probing and calculating others' every move, like a predator lurking in the dark. When you face such people, you can feel that inner discomfort. It is the gaze of one who is always probing and calculating others' every move, like a predator lurking in the dark. In life, such eyes are not hard to find. Some speak sweetly, yet their eyes hold no sincerity. When they talk and laugh, there is no warmth in the depths of their eyes, only self-interest and calculation. They may hide the schemes in their hearts, but they cannot hide the cunning in their eyes. So when dealing with someone, do not only listen to what they say, look into their eyes. Eyes can tell more than 1,000 flowery words. There are eyes that carry bottomless greed, the gaze of those who want only to possess, to take without giving. They look at others, not with sincerity, but with calculation. Their eyes hold no warmth, only coldness like an iceberg that makes others shiver just to see it. Eyes that are forever suspicious and scrutinizing as if always afraid that others will see their true selves. They can never truly relax forever, anxious that what they have long tried to hide will one day be exposed. They talk and laugh, but their eyes are not joyful. They project confidence, but their gaze lacks steadiness. Thus, no matter how dazzling the exterior, a look into the eyes reveals what still hides within. In life, meeting someone who can look you straight in the eyes without avoidance is something precious. Such people are usually trustworthy because they have nothing to hide. Conversely, if someone always dodges your gaze or their eyes are constantly darting, unable to look straight at you, be careful. They may be hiding something, or they may lack honesty in their view of things. A person may say a great deal, but the eyes do not know how to lie. If you observe carefully enough, you can tell who is trustworthy and who is someone you should keep at a distance. In life, having bright eyes is a blessing, but having a clear and forthright gaze is even more important. When the heart is clean, the eyes are naturally at ease. When one lives uprightly, the eyes are naturally open and luminous. If you want your eyes to be radiant, keep your heart straight. Do not let scheming calculations muddy it. In the end, remember that a single look can say everything. By observing a person's eyes, you can learn many things that words cannot express. There are countless people in this world, and countless flowery speeches, but the eyes are the truest reflection. Second, are those with fierce eyebrows that are messy or broken. The ancients said form follows the mind, and the mind appears through form. A person's face is not merely outward appearance, but a mirror reflecting their thoughts, temperament, and even destiny. The eyes hold the soul, but the eyebrows draw the character. They mark the boundary between gentleness and ferocity, sincerity and scheming. Those with refined, orderly eyebrows and soft strands usually carry warmth, understanding, and generosity. By contrast, those with eyebrows that grow chaotically coarse or broken like a snapped stroke on a page often have unstable temperaments and are easily hot-headed and impulsive. Their nature is like a flame, always ready to flare up quick to anger over small matters and poor at self-restraint in life's conflicts. Some eyebrows meet and arch like two sharp blades. This is the mark of the selfish and competitive, those who always want to overpower others with aggression and ambition. They are not the type to accept loss and are willing to step on anything to gain the upper hand. Such people often find it hard to keep long-term friendships because they love to contend and refuse to yield. They live as if everything were a battle, always on guard and unafraid to use ploys to get what they want. Eyebrows that are broken and discontinuous like a rough and bumpy road signal inner turbulence. People with this feature are prone to fickleness, warm one moment, cold the next, unreliable in their promises. They may be skilled at hiding their feelings, yet deep inside lies a conflicted soul. They are often inconsistent in relationships and may be ready to turn their backs if immediate benefit appears. Eyebrows that grow wildly without order resemble a thorny wilderness. This is the mark of complex inner worlds and unpredictable hearts, often scheming and hard to read. Such people may be masters at concealing emotion, appearing gentle on the surface while harboring deep calculations. They may befriend you not to build a sincere bond, but to extract advantage from the relationship. In physiognomy, eyebrows reflect not only character, but also hint at destiny. Those with fierce converging brows often face storms in life and are easily entangled in disputes. If they do not cultivate themselves and learn to curb the ego, their own anger and competitiveness can push them into trouble, even costing them what is most precious. Conversely, those with refined, harmonious brows tend to be calm, broad-minded, and skillful in dealing with others. They are inclined to live peacefully, avoiding needless gossip and turmoil. This is why the ancients taught that the heart gives rise to form, and form can change fate. To have a kind and blessed countenance, one must first cultivate the heart, learn to live for others, and restrain greed and anger within. Many believe destiny is fixed at birth, but in truth, appearance can change over time. When one lives sincerely and kindly, even sharp features soften into warmth. Conversely, those who nourish greed and crooked intent will see even naturally elegant brows grow cold and severe with the years. When you look at a person, do not be swayed by their clothes or their pretty words. Look deeply into each feature of the face, especially the eyebrows and the eyes, for these are the two things hardest to hide. Unusual brows that grow wildly or meet like crashing waves may signal a scheming nature that is difficult to handle. Shifty, treacherous eyes can reveal someone always trying to conceal what is not upright within. In life, we cannot choose the face we are born with, but we can choose a way of living that beautifies the heart. Then the features follow. A kind, reasonable person who keeps calm in all things will gradually soften even a fierce countenance. A deceitful, narrow heart will grow harsh and cold, no matter how blessed the features once were. Those with fierce, unruly, or broken brows can still change their fate if they correct their hearts and conduct, learn to restrain anger, and weigh right and wrong. Life arises from the heart. When the heart is bright, the features naturally grow gentle. When the heart is pure, life becomes serene. Third are a crooked mouth, thin lips, and a habit of sneering. People say the eyes are the windows of the soul, but the lips are the door that opens onto one's true nature. A smile can make the world gentler, but it can also be a sharp blade hidden in falsehood. In physiognomy, those with a crooked mouth, thin lips, and a frequent sneer are seldom sincere. They often carry a calculating, unpredictable character. Have you ever met someone who is always smiling yet gives no warmth at all? A smile that does not arise from sincerity is just a careless smirk tinged with mockery. It is no longer the smile of joy, but the sign of those who toy with others' trust and take pleasure in others' pain. Those who often sneer with thin, sharp lips are often people who are eloquent, but do not use words to build up or comfort others. They like to use language like sharp needles pricking at people's hearts, speaking venomous words without the slightest thought for the hurt they cause. They may be skilled debaters, but their speech is razor-edged. Every sentence, every word is like a dagger driven into another's heart. Thin lips have long been seen as a sign of those who are good talkers, but when paired with a cunning gaze and a habit of sneering, it becomes a sign of the untrustworthy. Such people are often adept at manipulating words, using language to secure their own advantage. They may praise you today, but tomorrow they are ready to turn their back and let fall words that wound you deeply. A crooked or skewed mouth is a feature of the crafty and the dishonest. A straightforward person with an upright heart usually has a balanced mouth and harmonious lips. But those whose hearts are full of schemes and lacking in rectitude often have a twisted mouth and speak untruths. When they speak, you can hardly tell what is real and what is false, for they can turn white into black and right into wrong with just a few artful phrases. People with a crooked mouth and a habit of sneering are often those who toy with others' trust. They may feign concern, but are in fact looking to extract information and exploit your weaknesses. They may laugh and chat cheerfully to your face, but behind your back, they do not hesitate to undermine your reputation with rumors. A crooked mouth, thin lips, and a habit of sneering also show a person whose heart is not at peace, always harboring calculation. They may pretend to be good, but the sarcasm in their words and the disdain in their eyes soon reveal their true nature. They do not readily trust anyone, nor do they want anyone to trust them because they themselves are accustomed to deceit. In physiognomy, those with a crooked mouth and a habit of derisive laughter often run into difficulties in relationships because their manner of speaking rarely inspires full trust. They may be intelligent and sharp, but they lack sincerity. At work, they may achieve success through eloquence, but if they cannot control their words, they easily become embroiled in gossip and are shunned. There is a saying, do not look only at the face, look at the smile. However beautiful someone may appear, if they often wear a curled, contemptuous smirk or speak sarcastically of others, their true nature cannot be hidden for long. A sincere smile always warms the person before you, but a smile full of cunning only makes people wary and defensive. If those with a crooked mouth and thin lips correct their disposition, learn to speak gently, and lessen the sarcasm in their tone, their appearance will gradually change for the better. Appearance is not unchanging. When the heart changes, the face changes too. Someone who once had the habit of sneering will see their smile become more sincere as they cultivate themselves and learn forbearance. In this life, words can create happiness, but they can also kill a person's trust. Choose to speak kindly, for what we say affects others and also reflects ourselves. A venomous word may gratify us for a moment, but it plants deep wounds in another's heart. Remember that a smile can change someone's entire day, but it can also break a heart. If you wish to be trusted and cherished, learn to use your smile to warm others, not to leave them feeling cold and hurt. Fourth are those with high, sharp, and uneven cheekbones. In physiognomy, the cheekbones are not merely a facial feature, but reflect character, destiny, and a person's way of conduct in life. The ancients said, "Look at the cheekbones to read the heart, because their shape reveals much about how a person treats others, their ambition for power, and whether they are loyal or treacherous." Those whose cheekbones are high yet pointed, sharp, and excessively prominent are often associated with rigidity, autocracy, and a love of control. They are not easily influenced by others. On the contrary, they always want to impose their thoughts and decisions on those around them. They radiate a powerful energy, but not one of tolerance or warmth. Rather, it is a sense of pressure that makes others wary. Such people often have strong will, independence, and a dislike of relying on anyone. They can be very decisive, but that decisiveness can turn into stubbornness and obstinacy, willing to do whatever it takes to achieve their goals, regardless of others' feelings or hurt. They may be good leaders, yet they find it hard to win wholehearted loyalty from subordinates because they tend to put personal interests above genuine concern for those around them. Those with pointed cheekbones that are not full but sunken tend to be calculating, pragmatic, and always weigh gain and loss before making any decision. They do not act on impulse, but carefully deliberate to secure their own advantage. However, if greed arises, they may become selfish, willing to trade anything, even betray family and friends just to reach their goals. There is a type of person who always makes others feel uneasy. Up close, they are those with high, sharp cheekbones, coupled with a cunning gaze and a suggestive sneer. They may not need to say much yet. A single glance or curl of the lip is enough for others to sense the calculation and coldness within. They seldom trust anyone because they themselves are not sincere with anyone. In relationships, people with this cheekbone type are rarely willing to compromise. They tend to dominate the other party, want to keep the upper hand, and do not easily yield to anyone. When conflicts arise, they may use cutting words or hard measures to force others to submit. As a result, their relationships often lack sincerity and durability. Not everyone with high cheekbones has a destiny of solitude, but if the cheekbones are pointed and excessively bony, it is a sign of someone who finds it difficult to sustain long-term relationships. Because of an overly forceful personality, a taste for control, and an unwillingness to compromise, they often create distance from others without realizing it. There is a saying that women with high cheekbones bring misfortune to their husbands. It suggests that women with this feature often face difficulties in marriage. This is not purely superstition. It arises from the observation that those with high pointed cheekbones tend to have strong personalities, little forbearance, and difficulty adapting to traditional married life. If they do not learn to temper themselves, the marital relationship easily falls into discord and argument. For men, high but full cheekbones are a sign of aspiration, leadership ability, and determination in pursuing a career. However, if the cheekbones are too pointed and the bones too pronounced, it is a sign of solitude and a lack of support from others. Because they often place personal interest above all else, they may achieve success, but the path to that success is often lonely. The people who travel with them seldom stay long. Physiognomy is not an unchanging fate. A person with high pointed cheekbones who lives with generosity and magnanimity, and who balances power with compassion, can still have a fulfilling and happy life. Appearance reflects the heart. When the heart changes, the countenance gradually changes as well. If someone has high cheekbones, yet knows how to keep ambition in check, and how to listen and understand others, they will no longer be seen as selfish, or authoritarian. If someone has pointed cheekbones yet lives sincerely and calculates less, they will no longer be regarded as treacherous or cold. Life is not determined by a single facial feature. It is determined by how we treat others. Those who can control ambition cherish the people around them and use power to help rather than oppress, can be trustworthy, loved, and respected, no matter how high their cheekbones are. Therefore, if your cheekbones are high-pointed and bony, do not be anxious or assume that your fate is to be alone. Learn to change from the heart, so that your features reflect a beautiful soul and a life filled with peace and human kindness. In the end, appearance is only an outer shell. Character is what determines the value of a person. Fifth is a grey, ashen face and a gloomy complexion. A person's face is not merely an exterior. It is a mirror reflecting the inner life. Those whose hearts are at ease and who live kindly have faces that are bright and radiant. By contrast, those who harbor much resentment, whose intentions are not upright, and who are always calculating gains and losses, often carry a heavy, dim countenance, as if veiled in a mist. Have you ever seen someone who did not speak a word, yet one look at their complexion made you uneasy? That is the sign of a dark aura, evidence of a soul heavy with hatred, anxiety, and accumulating negative thoughts. A grey, lifeless skin tone is not only a matter of physical condition, it also comes from what a person hides in the heart. When the mind is not at peace and the heart is not kind, dark thoughts gradually erode the exterior. The face sinks, the eyes grow dull, the smile becomes forced, especially when there are many deep wrinkles on the face, most notably between the brows or at the corners of the mouth. It shows that the person lives constantly in worry, plotting, or strong negative emotion. Those with deep lines between the brows are often irritable and combative, always calculating wins and losses, and unwilling to accept anything that seems unfavorable to themselves. They tend to control everything, and to put personal benefit first. If the corners of the mouth also have many downward lines, it shows even more that they are often dissatisfied and hold resentments they cannot release. There are people who, without saying anything, bring a heavy energy into a room the moment they enter, and the atmosphere seems to sink. This is not something invisible. Their complexion says everything. Physiognomy is not a judgment. It is a reminder. Features are not destiny. Yet, if a person harbors malice, lives in falsehood, and scheming, their face will gradually reflect it. Conversely, if one lets go of resentment, lives kindly, and opens the heart to life, then no matter how gloomy their face once was, the complexion will gradually change. When the heart is bright, the face is gentle. When the heart is good, the eyes are at peace. When you learn to live with forbearance, your face naturally shines with the light of serenity. Form arises from the mind. When the mind changes, appearance changes as well. Face, eyes, eyebrows, smile, and complexion are all subtle marks that reflect a person's inner life. It is no accident that the ancients said, "Form arises from the mind and circumstances shift according to the mind." A shifty, treacherous gaze, a sneering mouth with thin, sharp lips, or a dark and gloomy face are not merely inborn features. They are also the outcome of the temperament and way of living one cultivates over a lifetime. Those who live uprightly and kindly naturally shine with a bright complexion. Their words carry sincerity. Their eyes are clear and bright. By contrast, those whose hearts are malicious, deceitful, and selfish reveal unease in both face and gesture. No matter how they try to hide it, they cannot fully succeed. The heart cannot remain hidden for long in the features, yet features are not destiny. The heart can change, and when the heart changes, appearance changes too. Someone who once had a cold, piercing gaze will become gentle-eyed if they cultivate compassion. Someone who once wore a sneering, mocking smile will become serene if they learn to let go of resentment. Someone who once had a dark aura, a furrowed brow, and a crooked mouth will gradually improve in fortune if they live kindly and keep the heart bright. Therefore, instead of worrying about fate and features, devote time to cultivating the inner life. With a kind heart, features naturally change. With a generous heart, good fortune naturally arrives. When you live uprightly and sincerely, your face becomes a mirror, reflecting the peace and radiance within. The face may seem like fate, but the soul is what truly determines destiny. Have you ever wondered why your life faces so many difficulties? Why some people seem to meet good fortune from birth, while others endure countless hardships? Is it all random, or is there a deeper reason? In the Buddha's teaching, cause and effect never err. Everything we meet in this life is closely tied to what we have done before. If in a past life we sowed wholesome causes in this life, we reap peace and joy. If we once created suffering and injustice in this life, we will repay it in one way or another. Understanding this law, we no longer resent fate. We learn to live kindly and to resolve karmic bonds so the future can be peaceful and happy. Attend quietly to the Dharma talk. What debts were owed in a past life are repaid in this life. It is a journey that brings you to insight into karmic cause and effect. Let the warm voice and wondrous teaching of the channel Ko Nan Shua help you calm the mind, release vexation, and fall gently into restful sleep. Relax the heart and feel each sentence and each word so that wisdom becomes clear and the heart grows light like clouds drifting across the sky. There is a story that tells of a poor man who worked hard all his life, yet never had enough to eat while his friend was wealthy and comfortable. One day he complained that fate was unfair. Why did he struggle so much and still suffer while his friend seemed to prosper without much effort? A Zen master overheard and explained in a previous life, the friend had built a bridge to help people cross a river and regularly gave alms to the poor, aiding those in distress. Thanks to those merits, he was born into favorable conditions in this life. As for the poor man in a past life, he had lived selfishly unwilling to share, so now he faced poverty. But if he understood this and began planting wholesome seeds from this moment on, his future would be different. After hearing the master's teaching, the man changed the way he lived. He stopped blaming fate and began helping those poorer than himself, living more virtuously. Gradually, he felt his life change, and more good things came to him. This story shows that although past karma influences our present circumstances, people can still change by sowing good causes now. No one remains poor forever if they know how to create merit. No one remains a failure if they train themselves, accumulate virtue, and live with a kind heart. Success or failure, wealth or poverty, are not only the result of effort in this life, but the resonance of cause and effect across many lives. Most importantly, regardless of our starting point, we can change the future if we live rightly, accumulate blessings, and keep improving ourselves. Each life is not the same. Some are born into families overflowing with love, protected and properly taught by their parents. Others are less fortunate, rejected by their own family, abused, and forced to grow up in pain and humiliation. This is not merely random or the unfairness of fate. From the Buddhist perspective of cause and effect, it is family karma, the karmic ties from many past lives that now ripen to settle debts and learn necessary lessons. Affinity does not arise by chance in the endless cycle of rebirth. We have not just one lifetime. We have passed through countless births and deaths. In each rebirth, we have parents, siblings, and children, but these roles do not remain fixed. In this life, we may be their child, yet in a previous life, we may have been relatives or even enemies. The relationships in our family today are the result of affinities formed over many past lives. Those born into warm, loving families well taught by their parents are often people who in many past lives created good karma, who were filial, ethical, and helpful to others. Thus, they enjoy blessings in this life and are raised in a good environment. Conversely, those born into families full of suffering, exposed to coldness and abuse, may be experiencing the result of past karma. Perhaps in former lives they were unfilial, treated their parents poorly, or harmed others. So now they must endure similar conditions to learn patience, forbearance, and love. Those born into painful families, instead of tormenting themselves and complaining, can learn to love themselves, live well, and dissolve bad karma. Those who enjoy a happy family should cherish it, nurture it, and create more merit, so they do not lose that precious gift. How can we resolve family karma? Whatever it may be, we can still change the future by accepting and understanding cause and effect. When we see that everything has a cause, we resent less, and instead cultivate forbearance and patience, avoiding the creation of new negative karma. Even if we are treated unfairly, we should stop our resentment. Live virtuously. Do not let anger dominate the mind. Practice love and filial piety, even if they are not returned. Sometimes as soon as we change, karmic ties begin to unwind. Cultivate to transform consciousness. When we change ourselves and view life with inner peace, pain gradually fades. Whatever family fate gives us, remember that it is only karmic affinity, and that affinity can be transformed through love and forbearance. Under this vast sky, each of us carries karmic bonds we ourselves created over countless lives. Some are born into fortune, love, and protection. Others must endure suffering and loss from childhood. Yet the irony is that whether blessed or afflicted, if we do not understand cause and effect, we continue to spin in the vortex of karmic retribution without knowing it. A seed planted in the earth will sprout and grow according to natural law. Karma is the same. When we give rise to a wholesome or unwholesome thought, it never disappears. It follows us like a shadow waiting for the right time to bear fruit. If in this life we do not know how to resolve old karma, and in our ignorance create new bad karma in the next life, we will continue to suffer the consequences. Therefore, living virtuously is not to earn praise from others, it is the way to save ourselves. The loops of suffering there was a middle-aged man who lived his whole life in resentment and hatred. As a child, he was abandoned by his parents and had to fend for himself. Growing up, he became rude and cold, distrustful of human goodness. He treated anyone who approached him with harshness, always believing life was unfair and no one was worthy of trust. He later married, but through his resentment and indifference, he made his wife and children suffer. Bitter words, arguments, and cold looks gradually opened an unbridgeable distance. His wife left, and as the children grew up, they no longer wished to be close to their father. In old age, he lived in lonely bitterness, asking why life was so unfair. But was it truly unfair, or had he unconsciously shaped his own fate? Because he had been hurt, he hurt others. Because he had not been loved, he refused to love. Thus, the loop of suffering continued. He bore not only old karma, but also created new karma, binding himself to a chain of unhappy days. Cultivation is the only path to resolving karma. There is a fine saying, if you do not want to reap bitter fruit, do not sow bitter seeds. Karma is not an irrevocable sentence. People can change their destiny by changing the way they live. Cultivation does not mean retreating to a temple to strike wooden fish and chant sutras, nor does it mean abandoning everything to chase truth. More simply, cultivation is learning to govern the mind, not letting greed, anger, and delusion lead our lives. When facing difficulties, instead of complaining, we learn calm. When hurt by others, instead of hatred, we learn forgiveness. A person who knows how to cultivate themselves is not someone who has never made mistakes, but someone who knows how to admit mistakes and correct them. Mistakes are not what is frightening. What is frightening is not knowing you are wrong. There was a young woman who was very hot-tempered. She flared up easily, was easily hurt, and easily hurt others. One day she met a Zen master and complained, "I don't understand why I keep meeting awful people. They treat me badly and make me miserable." The master smiled and asked, "Have you ever considered that you yourself may have treated others that way? If you keep harboring resentment and reacting harshly, you will continue to encounter what you don't want because you are sowing seeds of suffering yourself." The girl was taken aback. From then on, she began learning to restrain her anger and to listen instead of reacting. Each day, she reminded herself of compassion and of cause and effect. Gradually, those around her changed as well. Her life became lighter because she no longer created additional bad karma. Sow wholesome karma and accumulate blessings for the future. There is a paradox in life. Those who live kindly sometimes suffer losses, while wrongdoers seem to benefit. But do not rush to think that cause and effect are unfair. Someone who does evil may not face retribution yet, but the time to pay will come. Those who do good may not receive an immediate return, but blessings will surely arrive. A person who frequently helps others, always speaks well, and lives honestly and kindly, may see no obvious change at present. But one day when misfortune strikes, there will be people ready to help them. When difficulties arise, they still keep peace in their hearts. Merit is shown not only in material things, but in inner serenity. Living virtuously is not to win praise, but to avoid creating more negative karma. Many ask, if everyone has karmic retribution, why live virtuously? The answer is simple. If we do not live virtuously, we merely create more bad karma for ourselves. When we do wrong, no matter how we justify it, we cannot avoid the consequences. When we are angry, the one who suffers most is ourselves. When we are envious, we only burn our own hearts. Living virtuously is not to wait for a reward from someone else, but to make the heart light so we do not keep drifting through the painful cycle of rebirth. In this impermanent human life, the only thing we can truly control is how we act. We can choose anger and blame, or we can choose forbearance and love. We can choose to create more bad karma, or choose to sow wholesome seeds. Every passing moment we are planting causes for our future. So how should we live so that looking back we feel no regret? How should we live so that when we close our eyes to depart, nothing remains to burden us? Because everything we do for ourselves. Under the shade of time, human beings roll along in endless rebirths, carrying karmic bonds from life to life. Some are born in luxury, enjoying abundant blessings. Others bear misfortunes no one can fathom. But have we ever asked whether karma can change, or is everything fixed like an irrevocable sentence? In Buddhist teaching, karmic retribution is not an unchanging fate. Karma is not a fixed destiny. It is always in motion, always changing with each thought, word, and deed. If karma is a high hill blocking the way, then every good deed we do is a new path open to find another route. There is a story of a man named An, who spent his whole life in suffering. He was poor, sickly, and endured many losses. He constantly blamed fate and resented life. One day he went to a Zen master and asked, "Master, why am I so miserable? Is this the karmic retribution I must pay? If so, then nothing I do matters, right?" The master looked at him, smiled gently, and said, "If you plant a sour orange seed, you will get a sour orange tree. But if you water it, care for it, and improve the soil gradually, the flavor of the fruit can change." Karma is the same. It is not forever unchangeable. If you keep complaining and continue to live negatively, you are merely fertilizing the tree of suffering to grow stronger. But if you know how to transform, blessings will gradually arise. Those words awakened him. He decided to change himself, live more virtuously, help others, and work diligently without blaming fate. Though the difficulties did not vanish immediately, he felt his heart grow lighter, and gradually good things came to him. How can we repay karma more gently? If bad karma was created in the past, we cannot erase it at once, but we can lighten it by the following approaches. Know to repent to resolve the wrongs you have caused. Repentance is not merely saying sorry, but genuine remorse from the depths of the heart. When we sincerely recognize our faults and do not repeat them, we have laid the first stone on the path to dissolving karmic obstacles. Some people have hurt others, yet, instead of correcting themselves, they justify their actions. When we continue to sow harmful bonds, we only make our karma heavier. But if we know how to turn back and make amends with true sincerity, karmic retribution can gradually change. Live virtuously to make up for what has been lost. There is a saying, if you want to know the past, look at the present. If you want to know the future, look at your actions today. If we created bad karma in the past, the present is the chance to make amends. Each good deed is like a small light in the night, gradually illuminating the road ahead. Helping others, cultivating the mind and faith, and sowing wholesome affinities, all of these can help us repay karma more gently. Be patient in accepting karma with a peaceful attitude. Some people, when faced with hardship, immediately curse heaven and earth, but that does not lessen their karma. On the contrary, if we calmly accept it and see it as part of the learning process, karma becomes much lighter. When someone loses money, they can grow angry and bitter. or they can think of it as repaying some debt from a previous life. The difference lies in how we perceive the situation. If we resent it, we only add more suffering. If we remain calm, karmic retribution will pass without leaving a wound too deep in the heart. Learn to practice generosity, using compassion to dissolve bad karma. Generosity is not only giving material things, it is also sharing love, being magnanimous and forgiving. Some people are wealthy yet stingy, and in the end they meet much suffering. Others are not well off but always help those in need, and they live more lightly. When we open our hearts and are willing to help those who suffer more than we do, we are creating blessings for ourselves. Transform negative thoughts and create wholesome karma from within. Many people believe only actions create karma, but in reality thoughts do as well. If we constantly think negatively with jealousy and hatred, we are creating a harmful environment for ourselves. A person may live in poverty, yet if they keep a tranquil mind, they do not feel miserable. Conversely, a wealthy person who always worries and fears still suffers. Therefore, changing from within our thinking is the way to make karmic retribution lighter. Karmic retribution is not an unchangeable destiny. We have the right to write our own fate by planting good seeds. When we learn to repent, to live virtuously, and to cultivate the heart, karmic obstacles can be transformed. Nothing is fixed, and nothing is random. Everything arises through causes and conditions. If today we live better, tomorrow will surely be brighter. Remember that no one can save us from our karma except ourselves. Only when we truly wish to change does the path of transforming karma truly open. In the endless wheel of rebirth, each of us carries karmic ties from previous lives and simultaneously creates new karma for future ones. Some are born into wealthy families, loved and protected. Others suffer hardship and misfortune from birth. None of this is random. All of it has causes in the law of cause and effect. If we want a better next life, we must plant wholesome seeds now. Every action, word and thought creates karma. If we live kindly, help others, and keep a compassionate heart, we accumulate many blessings for future lives. If we are greedy and selfish and harm others, bad karma will follow us and bring future suffering. There is a saying, if you want to know how you lived in your past life, look at this life. If you want to know what your next life will be, look at how you live today. Those who understand this law will stop blaming fate and will actively change themselves, living virtuously to create good conditions for the future. Many think only grand actions create karma, but in truth, even the smallest thoughts can shape our lives. If we are often angry, resentful, and jealous, those negative emotions accumulate into bad karma. If we can govern the mind, keep a forgiving heart, think positively, and love others, we are creating wholesome karma that leads to a better next life. To have a joyful future life, we must create merit now. Blessings do not come only from giving money. They come from the simplest acts, helping the poor and distressed, sharing knowledge and guiding others on the right path, forgiving and being generous with others' mistakes, protecting the environment and refraining from taking life. Each good deed we do is like a seed planted in the earth. When causes and conditions are sufficient, that seed will sprout and bear good fruit for us in this life and the next. Learn to let go and lessen afflictions, so the heart is at ease. Many people live in suffering not because they are too unfortunate, but because they do not know how to let go. They cling to money, status, fame, and love, and when they lose them, they suffer terribly. One who understands the law of cause and effect knows that everything in life is impermanent. When we learn to let go, the heart becomes lighter. A peaceful heart does not create more bad karma, and that is the best way to aim for a happier next life. Live with gratitude and recognize the value of life. Those who are always grateful maintain a more positive outlook. With gratitude, we cherish what we have. We do not compare, and we do not resent. We understand that even difficulties are part of cause and effect, helping us learn and grow. Gratitude adds to our store of merit and keeps the mind pure, protecting us from negative thoughts that lead to bad karma. Mindfulness is wakefulness in every action, word, and thought. When living mindfully, We do not let ourselves be swept away by greed, anger, and delusion. We consider carefully before acting and do not let negative emotions control us. A mindful person remains calm and lucid, thereby avoiding the creation of bad karma. This brings a lighter life now and lays a firm foundation for future lives. Beyond living virtuously, being grateful and letting go, practicing the true Dharma is the best way to change karmic momentum and create a better next life. Practice does not mean becoming a monastic. It means living in accord with right principles, contemplating oneself, and adjusting the mind toward wisdom and compassion. There are many ways to practice: meditate, to train the mind, to abide in the present study, the Buddha's teaching, to understand cause and effect, impermanence, and non-self, recite the Buddha's name, to keep the mind pure and oriented toward awakening, and observe the precepts to avoid creating bad karma. One who practices diligently not only changes their own karmic momentum, but also generates a positive energy field for those around them. If we want a better next life, we must learn not to harm others. Many harm people out of greed and envy, without realizing that all the suffering we cause will return to us. Rather than living in hatred, we should practice forgiveness. When we forgive others, we free ourselves from the resentments in our heart. A tranquil heart is the foundation for a happier life. Wealth, fame, and power are only temporary. When we cling to them, we readily create bad karma because greed has no end. The one who knows contentment is the richest person. When we learn to live simply and stop chasing material things, our minds grow lighter. A peaceful heart does not create bad karma and helps us to have a more serene next life. No one can change our karma except ourselves. If we want a better next life, we must live well starting now. Each day ask yourself, what good did I do for others today? Did I do anything that hurt someone? Did I live with compassion and equanimity? If we strive each day to do better, then no matter how heavy old karma may be, we can transform it and open a brighter future. Life is a journey, and every step we take leaves its mark on the wheel of cause and effect. No one can change the past, but the present and future remain in our hands. When we understand the law of cause and effect, we stop blaming fate and learn how to plant wholesome causes to reap wholesome results. Choose to live a meaningful life, let go of afflictions, cultivate the heart, and do good to transform karmic momentum and move toward a more peaceful existence. Every small action we take today can bring great changes in the future. Do not wait until tomorrow to begin. Plant good seeds this very moment.